Hello? Look, can you hear me?
Yeah, ma'am, you're gonna have to mute yourself for just a bit, okay? I'll make an announcement when we start.
What do I have to do?
Mute your phone, please.
Mute it? Oh, okay.
Jim,
I'm here.
is that Schwarzbach?
It is. Hello, Mr. Weiner.
Why are we talking to each other?
Because we're the only idiots that are talking. There's probably 20 other people on the phone.
Oh, are you in line to go to Judge Stride's office?
I
Or
am.
courtroom?
You're on the audio right now.
No, I know. It's just strange that I never had where I got connected with a lawyer to talk.
I'll tell you who's on.
Mr. Schwarzbach and Mr. Weiner, we're streaming this, so you may want to mute yourselves and not have a private conversation.
Okay,
Judge,
I
sorry.
didn't realize that.
I don't have to hit anything or do anything.
Swój telefon możesz. Masz, żeby nie dzwonił.
I've been calling this guy every day. He's never returned my call. Yeah, I did it yesterday on a plea.
Can you, I'm waiting for somebody to hear me.
No.
Yes, okay.
Jeszcze raz przyciśnij głośnik. Jest.
All right, girls, you ready? All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is the 1:30 felony DUI pretrial call. A couple things that you should all be aware of. Number one, everybody has a right to a open proceeding, meaning the public should have access to our courts. And our way of handling that during this pandemic is to admit everybody and also to live stream this on YouTube. If your case is not being called, mute your phone. So I know I see, for example, Mr. Foster is unmuted. I saw Mr. Sanchez was unmuted. Please mute your phone. It makes it much easier on our court reporter to hear the proceedings as they go on. Also, in my court call, the prosecutors call the cases. If you're a private attorney and you wish to have your case called, please use the chat feature. I know both Mr. Corbin and Ms. LaBeouf routinely check that feature throughout the call. So I'm going to turn this now over. And by the way, I allow the prosecutors to call the cases because they're the plaintiffs in the lawsuit. They have the burden of proof in these cases. It's no preference I have for the prosecutors. The attorneys are in contact with them. They know what cases are ready and what the cases are up for. So that's why I allow that to happen. So with that, Mr. Corbin or Ms. LaBeouf, when you're ready, I know we had Mr. Nikitas on for a number of reasons. I would appreciate it if we did Mr. Nikitas's case first.
Judge, I just wanted to let the court know that there are two cases that the defendants are here, but they require a Spanish interpreter.
I appreciate that, Mr. Corbin. So I'm going to mute myself and I'm going to call the interpreter right now. So bear with me for a moment. All right, the interpreter will join us shortly. Mr. Corbin, in the meantime, or Ms. LaBeouf, feel free to call cases.
Thank you, Judge. This is 19 CF 136, People of the State of Illinois versus Chris Wolf Beasley. People by Christopher Corbin, defendant present with her attorney, Mr. Nikitas. The matter comes before the court for pretrial case management conference. All parties are present by way of Zoom conference.
Hey, and where are we at, Mr. Nikitas?
I think what we'd be looking for is a date to enter a plea, but we need a little time to do that. I don't know what you suggest in terms of a Tuesday or.
Well, I'm going to be going from Tuesdays and Thursdays to Tuesdays and Wednesdays starting in July 6th. So for my felony cases. So any Tuesday or Wednesday on the 1:30 call would be fine, Greg.
Tuesday, the 21st at 1:30.
Sure. Tuesday, July 21st at 1:30 for entry of plea. Bond is continued.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
And we have 16 CF 456 and 18 CF 824. People of the state of Illinois versus Jonathan Jones.
I had to be there for that. It's over.
People by Christopher Corbin, defendant present with his attorney, Mr. Nikitas.
Again.
All
Mike.
parties are present by way of Zoom conference, and the matter is before the court for pretrial. Judge, we had previously come to an agreement for a disposition. I'm sure that we will continue to have that negotiation. We just need another date to enter the paperwork, I believe.
Okay, Mr. Nikitas.
Judge, could we ask for that 1:30 time on Tuesday, July 21st?
Very well. 1:30 Tuesday, July 21st, and that will be for entry of plea. Bond is continued.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Nikitas, are you ready on Martin Reinhardt?
He is having trouble accessing Zoom. He has been in touch with me. We don't have anything to present today, so we would be asking for a date if that's okay to proceed without him.
Are you objecting, State?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead and call it.
19 CF 1988, people of the state of Illinois versus Martin Reinhardt Sr. People by Christopher Corbin. Defendant is not present. He is represented by his attorney, Mr. Nikitas. The matter comes before the court for pretrial.
And where were you at in the case, gentlemen?
Judge,
Judge,
I
an
think
offer was tendered. I'm not sure if Mr. Nikitas or his client are going to take it or what the status is.
Judge, I think we'd like an opportunity to review it and then let the court know if that July 21st date at 1:30 is too far out for that purpose, let us know, but we'd be requesting that date.
Oh, that's fine. The 21st at 1:30.
Thank you.
And the defendant's presence is waived for today.
Appreciate that too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is 19 CF 2386. People of the state of Illinois versus Lizette Quinones. People by Christopher Corbin. Defendant is present with her attorney, James Schwarzbach. All parties are present by way of Zoom conference. The matter is before the court on defendant's motion.
Your Honor, I advanced this matter 2 days because of a case conflict. Procedurally, Ms. Is she present? There you are. Your Honor, she's working a strong social schedule of DCFS as well as NICASA. I've sent mitigating documents to Ms. LaBeouf as recently as an hour ago. So we're going to ask time for the prosecutor to send an offer based on that mitigation. If I could ask for Tuesday, August 4th at 1:30 for continued pretrial.
I did not see Ms. Quinones on the call. Where is Ms. Quinones?
Judge, that was advanced on my motion. And here is the filed notice of motion.
Well, I have a copy of that, Mr. Schwarzbach, but where's your client? I don't see her.
Oh, she's in there. Ms. Quinones, take off mute.
I'm off mute.
Where are you? Wave your hand so I can see you. Okay, very well. And you're asking for when in August, Jim?
Judge, I'm asking for continued pretrial for probable plea on August 4 at 1:30. That's a Tuesday.
Any objection, State?
Your Honor.
August 4th for case management and pretrial. Bond is continued. Motion defended.
Next, we have 19 CF 1871. People of the state of Illinois versus J. Rel Gaines. People by Christopher Corbin. Defendant is present with his attorney, Mr. Schwarzbach. All parties are present by way of Zoom conference. The matter comes before the court for pretrial.
Your Honor, the procedural status of this case is Mr. Gaines is heavily involved in NICASA level 3 treatment. Although I'm not sure of exactly where we're at, I'm going to ask to continue the matter to August 4th, again for pretrial, and I'll send that mitigation to Ms. LaBeouf.
And is Mr. Gaines present?
If he could unmute, I know he should be. And I have one other request as well. Mr. Gaines? That is not Mr. Gaines. I was on the phone with Mr. Gaines 30 minutes ago, and he knows to be here.
I don't see him, Jim. Mr. Gaines, are you present? Oh, all right, and what is it up for today? It's up for pretrial?
Yes, Your
Yes.
Honor.
And Stater, are you asking to waive his presence, Jim?
Oh,
Mr.
yes, I am asking to waive his presence, Your Honor.
Any objection, State?
No, Your Honor.
Let's set a shorter date on this because he needs to appear. When can he be here, Mr. Schwarzbach?
Judge, can we go to Tuesday afternoon, the July 7th at 1:30?
Sure. Tuesday, July 7th at 1:30, and that will be for entry of plea or pretrial, excuse me.
Thank you. July 7th. Judge, I was literally speaking to him 30 minutes ago. He's been on a Scram device since October with, to my understanding, no violations since December. He shattered a femur in this accident, has a metal rod in. In 2013, he took a bullet to the spine. He's got a lot of physical issues. I was going to ask today, and it's probably premature under this circumstance, to waive him from further Scram device because he's about $1,200 in arrears. And I know the Scram people are concerned about their monies that he cannot pay.
Well, if he were here, I would.
Yeah. All right. I'll just renew that request on July 7th at 1:30.
Okay, very well.
We'll see you then, and I have one other matter. Thank you.
Jim, what other case do you have?
I have Dramian Johnson, 19 CF 2315.
There's also 18 CF. It's 18 CF 1708, 19 CF 235. People of the state of Illinois versus Dramian Johnson. People by Christopher Corbin. Defendant present with his attorney, Mr. Schwarzbach. All parties are present by way of Zoom conference. Mr. Schwarzbach, your client is here.
Yes, he should unmute. I saw him.
Mr. Johnson, are you on the call, sir?
Yes, I am.
All right, there you are. Sorry, my screen has about 60 pictures on it, so it took me a while. Thank you. All right, where are we at, guys?
Your Honor, procedurally, we are working on a mitigation package. We anticipate a plea at some time in the future. We're developing the documents, and I would ask for August 4th at 1:30.
Any objections, State?
Judge, I don't have an objection, but if we could set it for trial, just in case this matter's been around for a while.
Sure. We'll set it on the September 14th trial dates. We'll set it on August 4th at 1:30 for case management and pretrial bond is continued. All right, thank you, sir. We'll see you in August.
Time matters. Have a good day, sir.
Thank you,
Have a
Jim.
good day.
You too. And I know we have our interpreter, Mr. Corbin. If you know which cases require the interpreter, we can call it.
Yes, Your Honor. 19 CF 1229, people of the state of Illinois versus Augustin Rodriguez Velasquez.
La
People by
Fiscalía contra
Yes.
Agustín Rodríguez, 20 CF 1229.
People by Christopher
Works,
Corbin.
bro.
Fiscalía mediante Christopher Corbin.
Defendant present,
El acusado está presente.
assisted by the Spanish language interpreter and his attorney, Mr. Cronson.
Asistido por el intérprete que habla español y su abogado, el señor Cranston.
The matter comes before the court for pretrial.
El asunto viene ante usted para una conferencia previa al juicio.
There was previously some issue with a potential prior.
Previamente hubo un posible problema por un antecedente penal
Out of California.
que vendría de California.
The state has obtained a booking photo from that case,
La Fiscalía obtuvo un retrato de ese caso.
and we are satisfied it is not him.
Estamos satisfechos de que no es él.
Yes.
We will continue in our negotiations, Your Honor. I believe we can resolve this by way of.
Y continuaremos con nuestra negociación. Pensamos que lo podemos resolver.
Mr. Cranston, when would you like the pretrial date?
Señor Cranston, ¿para cuándo quiere una fecha previa al juicio?
¿No está presente mi abogado?
My attorney is not present.
Oh, he's present.
Sí está presente.
el que decida ahí.
Le están
Del día.
preguntando a su abogado, señor. Le están preguntando a su abogado, no usted.
Ok, gracias.
Mr. Cranston, when would you like a further pretrial date?
Your Honor, I did hear you giving August 4th at 1:30.
Pues 4 de agosto a la 1:30.
Sí, está bien.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, then we'll set the matter on August 4th at 1:30 for case management and pretrial.
Designaremos el asunto para el 4 de agosto a la 1:30 para administración del caso y fecha previa al juicio.
And bond will be continued till that.
Y la fianza se continuará hasta esa fecha.
Ok, gracias.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias a usted.
Ok, gracias.
Thanks.
Is that all you had, Chris?
We have one more interpreter.
Well, there's one other thing for Mr. Rodriguez Velasquez, Your Honor.
What was
¿Algo
that?
más para el señor Rodríguez Velázquez, su señoría?
No, está bien.
No,
His-
it's fine.
But his employer would like him to be able, he sent me a text yesterday and told me his employer would like him to be able to go to St. Louis for 3 days to work. Is that still, Augustine, is that still what you're requesting?
Su empleador, usted me envió un mensaje de texto que su empleador quiere que usted vaya a San Luis por 3 días. ¿Usted aún está pidiendo eso, Agustín?
Sí,
Yes.
estamos pidiendo eso.
Yes, we are asking for that.
Mr. Cranston, is your client on pretrial?
Señor Cranston, ¿su cliente está bajo los servicios de pretrial?
Your Honor, I don't believe he's on pretrial, and I know that he's been previously given, I don't know if you have the file, but he's previously been given leave to work probably 2 or 3 times out of state.
No creo que esté bajo supervisión del tribunal y creo que se le ha dado permiso para trabajar 2 o 3 veces fuera del estado.
Mr. Corbin, do you have an objection?
Señor Corbin, ¿protesta usted?
Judge, I know he was previously on pretrial because I have some memos dating back to August.
Yo sé que él estuvo bajo supervisión del tribunal porque tengo algunos avisos que regresan a agosto.
But I'm not, the state is not objecting to a travel order.
Pero los fiscales no protestamos contra que él pueda viajar.
Orlando, I'm sorry. I have 2 travel orders, one from December 2nd, one from December 11th, permitting the gentleman to work in Indiana.
Tengo 2 órdenes de viaje, una del 2 de diciembre y una del 11 que le permite a este señor trabajar en Indiana.
I will permit his travel to St. Louis. But Mr. Cranston, you're going to need to provide a written order to that effect.
Voy a permitirle que usted viaje a San Luis, pero su abogado, señor Cranston, tendrá que proveer una orden concerniendo ese tema.
And it should have specific dates and times in it, please.
Y la orden tendrá que incluir fechas y horas específicas.
All right, Your Honor, I'll get that over this afternoon.
Okay,
Bien,
very
su
well.
señoría, se la mandaré
Anything
esta tarde.
That's it, Judge.
¿Algo
Okay,
más? ¿Es todo por ahora?
thank you.
Gracias, es todo.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Interpreter case 19 CF 2872, People versus Arturo Garcia.
Este es el caso de intérprete 19 CF 2872, Fiscalía contra Arturo García.
People by Christopher Corbin,
Christopher Corbin por la Fiscalía.
defendant present
El
by
acusado está
way of
presente
Zoom conference,
mediante conferencia de Zoom.
assisted by the Spanish language interpreter and his attorney, Ms. Ayala.
Asistido por el intérprete del español y su abogada, la señora Ayala, señorita Ayala.
Matter comes before the court for pretrial.
El asunto viene ante la corte para conferencia previa al juicio.
Anything to report, folks?
¿Algo que reportar?
This is up for pretrial. We don't have a trial date yet set, so I would be asking for a trial date to be set, and I would also be asking to have an intervening pretrial date.
Juez, aún no tenemos una fecha de juicio, así que pido que se nos otorgue una fecha para ir a juicio y una fecha que intervenga en tiempo intermedio de conferencia previa al juicio.
And Davina, are you asking for the September or the August trial date?
Divina, ¿estás pidiendo la fecha de juicio de septiembre o de agosto?
September would be fine, Judge.
Septiembre estaría bien,
Or
juez. 14
For trial.
para juicio.
And let's set the matter for case management and pretrial,
Administración y fecha previa al juicio.
August 5th,
5 de agosto.
and bond will be continued until that date.
Se continúan las condiciones de la fianza hasta esa fecha.
And Mr. Garcia, have you been able to understand our interpreter this afternoon?
Señor García, ¿usted ha podido comprender al intérprete esta tarde?
Sí, señor.
Yes, sir.
Very well, then we'll see you likely in this format in August, sir, for your pretrial date.
Bien, lo veremos probablemente bajo este formato en agosto para su conferencia previa al juicio. Bien,
And bond is continued.
se continúa su fianza.
Thank you, sir.
Gracias, señor.
Ok, muchas gracias.
Okay, thank you very much.
Judge, I believe
Tenga buen
that's
día.
the end of our interpreter cases.
Orlando, I appreciate your help as always. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Just before you call the next case, Chris, John Stegmeyer, if you can unmute yourself. Which case are you here on?
Arturo Sanchez, 17 CF 2687.
Okay, and is that for pretrial or is that for hearing today?
I believe it's up for hearing.
And who's the attorney on that? Do you know, Chris?
It's
Zite,
Mr.
Judge, I
Stan
just
Zite.
unmuted myself.
Okay. Are you going to ask to go forward on the hearing or are you going to ask for a date on this?
But I'm ready to go forward.
Okay.
You know
well,
what? I take it back. Judge, I would like a little bit of time. This PTR was filed October 29th of 18. I want to look in the case law and see if there's any procedural due process rights, because otherwise his probation will be over. State's made me an offer, and so I'm trying to find a way out.
Well,
He's otherwise been good on probation.
Jennifer, if I gave a short date, would you be objecting to that?
No, I wouldn't object.
Okay. So let's.
Your Honor, with all due respect to probation officer, I don't think she'd be needed in the hearing on account of it's based on a plea out in branch court where you have the judicial records.
Well, I appreciate that, but if I know our probation officers, they like to know what's going on with cases that they supervise.
Of course, sir. Yes, sir.
That's why she's here. Let's call that really quickly. Jennifer, is that your only case this afternoon?
No, I also have Michael Mahone, 18 CF 1272.
Okay. Dan, is that your only case?
My only case, Judge.
Let's call that real quick then.
17 CF 2687, people of the state of Illinois versus Arturo Sanchez. People by Christopher Corbin, defendant present with his attorney, Mr. Daniel Zite. Also present is Ms. Stegmeyer, the defendant's probation officer. All parties are present by way of Zoom conference. The matter comes before the court for hearing on the state's petition for revocation.
I apologize for interrupting you, Mr. Corbin. Stegmeyer is Stegmeier for the record. All right. Dan, you want some time to look at some case law on this, correct?
Yes, sir. Please.
So if we intend on going to hearing on this case, let Mr. Corbin know so he can file, or you can file a request for an in-person hearing. I'm going to do my PTR hearings and my bond motions in person, Mr. Zite. So there needs to be some notice provided to the court. So I'll set this on a little bit of an off day. I'll set this on the 15th of July at 1:30. And I'm just going to set it down for PTR hearing. But of course, if you guys come to some sort of agreement, that's fine too. So your client should plan on being here that date.
Arturo, did you hear all that?
Yes, sir.
And Arturo, you realize you're still on probation now until at least July 15th, and we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Let us continue for now.
19 CF 40, people of the state of Illinois versus Abraham Camargo. There's also 19 CM 1342. People by Christopher Corbin, defendant present with his attorney, Mr. Pincel. All parties are present by way of Zoom conference. The matter comes before the court for pretrial. Judge, I believe defense counsel is requesting a trial date, and at this time we would elect on the 19 CM 1342.
Okay, Mr. Pincel, what are you asking for today?
A jury trial.
That's fine. If you want to set the CM for jury first, that's fine.
So bear with me while I have to make kind of a long repetitive record. The Supreme Court, Illinois Supreme Court issued 2 orders with regard to speedy trial. Appreciate that your client's at liberty, Mr. Pincel. I don't know if you filed a written demand or not on this case.
I have not, Judge.
Okay.
Just,
Nonetheless, we are not at this point equipped to provide jury trials. I don't know when it is that we will be in a position to provide jury trials. The orders entered by the Supreme Court give discretion to the trial court about when it is that they can safely hold jury trials. We can't. We don't have the physical space while Keegan continues to be a COVID hotspot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set Mr. Pincel, this gentleman's jury trial on September 14th. Do you want me to set an earlier case management date, or you just want me to leave it on the trial call?
no, just leave it. I'm just asking, do you want to get a 60-day date for status and then set a jury trial date, or do you want just that September date?
I don't know. The whole thing seems somewhat futile at this point. So
Okay.
I would just as soon leave it on a trial call. At least we know that it's going to be a trial and we'll respond accordingly.
Okay.
If you fellows have something worked out, however, you're always welcome to notice it up and present something.
Could you give me that date one more time?
The September 14th, 9 o'clock for jury trial.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. LaBeouf is going to call 2 cases, and then I'll jump back on. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Corbin.
Okay, this is Curtis Bonds up next. 19 CF 2092, People versus Curtis Bonds. People represented by Lisa LaBeouf. The defendant is present via Zoom along with his attorney, James Brzezinski. Your Honor, this case comes before you for arraignment.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good, good.
And is it arraignments on the DTs or the felony or everything?
Second, let me get the indictment. Judge, it's an arraignment on the controlled substances. It's a 2-count indictment.
Okay. And counsel, are you waiving formal reading?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And then where's Mr. Bonds? Mr. Bonds, are you unmuted, sir?
I believe there is.
All right. And can you hear me okay, Mr. Bonds?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. The grand jury returned a 2-count indictment against you, sir, alleging that you committed the offense of unlawful possession of a controlled substance. That substance in count 1 being an amphetamine and in count 2 being cocaine. If the state can prove those offenses happened, those are both class 4 felonies. They carry with it the possibility of sentences to the Illinois Department of Corrections for 1 to 3 years, up to 6 years if you're eligible for an extended sentence, followed by a period of mandatory supervised release or parole of 1 year. You could be fined on each count up to $25,000. If eligible, you could receive sentences of probation or conditional discharge for a period of up to 30 months, and you could be required to serve a sentence of periodic imprisonment or local incarceration for a period of up to 18 months. Sir, do you understand those charges and the possible punishment?
Yes, sir.
Then we can enter pleas and not guilty on everything. I'm going to order that the state furnish any and all felony discovery within 7 days of today's date, reciprocal discovery within 14 days of your receipt of the state's discovery, to include an answer. And I don't know if you heard what I said a moment ago about our ability to hold a jury trial, but my July trial call is massive. My August trial call isn't much better. And I'm starting to set things in July. So counsel, what's your present or pleasure?
Your Honor, as far out as you want to go is fine with the jury trial date. We'd have no objections to a longer date.
Okay, then I'll go motion defendants to September 14th. Let's set a case management and pretrial dates. However, on Tuesday, the 11th of August at 1:30 in the afternoon. That's likely to be on Zoom again.
Understood.
Judge, we're seeking leave to file our disclosures. We'll do that electronically. The discovery will be on our 3rd floor in the administrative tower for the Mr. Brzezinski to pick up.
Did you hear that, Jen?
Got it.
Okay. Anything else, folks?
No,
That's
Judge.
it for me, Your Honor.
Okay, and then just to be sure, sir, remember that you must appear on those court dates, even if it's by Zoom or live and in person. If you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. If you fail to appear for that trial date, that trial could go forward in your absence. If that happened, you'd waive all your trial rights, including your right to confront witnesses. And if you're found guilty in your absence, you could be sentenced in your absence. Do you understand that, Ms. Franz?
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks for jumping on. We'll see you in August then. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Next, we have Diana Briel. This is 19 CF 1512. People of the State of Illinois versus Diana Briel. People represented by Lisa LaBeouf. The defendant is not present, but she is represented by Vanessa Sheehan, who is present via Zoom.
All right,
Good
Vanessa,
afternoon, Your Honor.
how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Where's Ms. Briel?
Ms. Byerly is presently inpatient at Northwestern Medicine in Woodstock. She was admitted on Friday, June 18th. She does not have an out date yet. She's in a psychiatric program. I did send over proof to the state yesterday that I received. Would you like me to send that to the clerk?
No, I would prefer, somebody's waving at me. I don't know who that is. That's not your client, is it, Vanessa?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So, no, I would prefer that you didn't send that kind of information to end up in a court file. Thank you.
Right.
How far do you want to go for status?
I would defer to the court. My impression from mom is that she thinks it's going to be a 30-day program. So I would ask for, if the court would allow it, the last week of July or the first week of August.
How about July 28th at 1:30?
That's good.
And then her presence is waived for today and bond is continued.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Next, we have Kozera. This is 15 CF 2100 and 19 CF 300. People, State of Illinois versus Jonathan Kozera. People represented by Lisa LaBeouf. The defendant is present via Zoom, as well as his attorney, David Weiner, also present via Zoom. Case comes before you for case management.
Hey, David, you there?
I did see him.
I did too.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, great. Judge, I want to give a little background on this real quick. We had a 402 conference in February of this year where the state was offering 4 years on a class 1. The case was continued till March 6th, and then continued to May 29th, and obviously the pandemic hit. My client does want to accept this offer, but circumstances have changed a lot for him to go to the penitentiary, and we were going to ask for a 2 to 3 month date to allow him to accept this plea and go to the penitentiary. I can give you my reasons if you're interested in hearing, or I'm not sure what the state's position is on it.
Well, I'll certainly hear you. However, that's a big ask on somebody who wants to go to the Department of Corrections that's at liberty. So,
Well,
go ahead.
okay. Well, Judge, just to let you know, he was put on probation on another case from August of 2015. So currently he's on probation and pretrial. On this case, he's been on pretrial since February of 2019 and on scram from March of 2019. He has not had any violations whatsoever on the scram device for that period of time. The reason why the case is so old is Mr. Wexler originally represented him, and then he wound up getting this case was a Winthrop Harbor case, and it was transferred over to me in the middle of the case. He's made every court date. He has no criminal priors. He's married. He has 2 children in college. He's a resident of Highland Park. He is regularly going to AA with a sponsor. And all these documents we provided to Judge Johnson during the 402 conference and the state. He goes to AA twice a week. And plus he's diabetic. And he is a manager at Walgreens in, I think it's on Green Bay Road in Winnetka. and his wife lost his job because of the outbreak, and is the only supportive income here. Judge, he knows, and since I've represented him, he's been perfect. His scram devices have all been cleaned. Everything's been perfect. He knows that if he violates any conditions of his current probation, pretrial, anything, the offer is going to be off. In this case, is going to go up to a Class X. So it's really not a situation where he's trying to dodge anything. Had it not been for the pandemic and his age and the fact that he has diabetes, he most likely would have been going in today. And he's just asking for some time for it. And I do see him here.
Ms.
On the
LeBeau,
call.
what's your position?
Judge, I appreciate his family information. However, we are objecting. On March 6th, when we had the 402 conference, he asked for 2 months at that point in time to enter the plea because he had to get his family in order. Then the pandemic hit, so we had some other continuances. He's at a Class X. He does have a criminal history. So I think it was just alluded that he had no criminal history. We want this plea entered. At this point in time, he'd be serving it in the Lake County Jail because they're not transferring them at this point. But we will not agree to a 2 to 3 month date. We've already done that once or twice before.
Mr. Weiner?
Well, Judge, it was continued once before to get his affairs in order. But then again, with the pandemic, between his diabetes, his wife losing his job, and the fact that he, in my opinion, is a extraordinarily low flight risk or risk to violate any terms of his probation. So,
Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, over the state's objection, continue it not for 2 or 3 months, but I'll continue it to the end of July, July 28th. I'm going to set it for status and we'll see where we're at. But Mr. Weiner, I don't see the court being comfortable going into September on this. But
Okay.
I'm giving you about 6 weeks. If you need a little more time at the end of July, we can talk about it.
okay, Judge, I have a 1 o'clock Secretary of State hearing downtown Chicago.
Okay.
Can we do this in the morning, or does this have to be in the afternoon?
Oh, I can do it on Wednesday, the 29th, if that works better for you.
Yeah, that'd be fine. That'd be great. Thank you.
Wednesday, the 29th at 1:30. Bond is continued. And I just want to be clear. There appears to be a little bit of a spike happening, not so much in Illinois, but in COVID tests. Not sure if that's more people getting tested or what that's attributable to. Nonetheless, if he's diabetic, he's comorbid and he's at risk. And I'm not unmindful of that. And I'm not trying to put the gentleman in harm's way. But this, as they say, this one's got a little bit of gray in it, David. It's been around for a while.
No, I understand. I understand.
Okay. All right. We'll see you in July.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Judge, is there any way I can talk to Mr. Corbin?
I have no idea who's talking to me right now.
Attorney Myron Goldston on 19 CF Sean Panveno.
Mr. Corbin, could you hear any of that?
I did, Your Honor.
So I guess,
19 CF 2231.
okay, counsel, if you want to use the chat feature, I'm sure Mr. Corbin can visit with you there, but we're not going to interrupt the call so you can have a private pretrial in the middle of a court call.
No, it was set today for a pretrial.
Okay. If you want to mute yourself and then perhaps email Mr. Corbin, my guess is he'll respond to you.
I'm sorry, Judge, I didn't understand what you were saying.
I'm saying that if you want to visit with Mr. Corbin, then, you know, it's always helpful to do that before the middle. But if you want to mute yourself right now and email him or use the chat feature on Zoom, my guess is he'll be happy to visit with you.
Judge, I guess we're just going to get a date, so that's all I was trying to do.
Okay, that's fine, but there's an order in which people checked in and the prosecutors are calling the case in that order. So
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just be patient and we'll get to you as soon as we can. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have 18 CF 584, 19 CF 1928, 19 MR 865, People of the State of Illinois versus Luis Hernandez Torres. People by Christopher Corbin, defendant present and represented by his attorney, Mr. Bertucci. Also present on behalf of the lien holder on the MR matter is Mr. Gabriel Antman, A-N-T-M-A-N. The matter has come before the court for pretrial. Judge, we did have some headway today, make some headway in our negotiations, so I believe we're asking for an additional pretrial date.
Okay, when would you like that, Mr. Bertucci?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Judge, that's correct. I was tendered an amended offer from the state today. I reviewed it with my client just earlier before this court call started. We are going to need some time to review it. So, Judge, if we could have the July 21st date.
Oh, okay, sure. July 21st at 1:30 for further pretrial or entry of plea, and then bond will be continued to that date.
Very well, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge, this case was next. It was 19 CF 2231, People of the State of Illinois versus Sean Panvino. People by Christopher Corbin. Not sure if defendant is present, but his attorney of record, Mr. Goldston, is present. On the matter comes.
And Mr. Panvino is standing right behind me. You should be able to see him in the screen. He just
I do see him. Thank you.
The parties.
Gentlemen, it sounded like you need a little more time to work things out.
Yes, Your Honor, but there's one issue. Judge Johnson had previously given the state leave to issue a subpoena for medical records from Highland Park Hospital. We did do that. And unfortunately, they were not returned to the court. They were returned to the state. I have a copy. I have not reviewed it. I have not looked at it except to identify that it was this case. I'm not sure how the court would like me to proceed with these records.
Or counsel, would you like Mr. Panvino's records to come to me for a review, to tender to the state to distribute, or do you object to the state making a copy and tendering those directly to you?
I have no objection with the state making a copy and tendering it to me.
Okay. So Mr. Corbin, you have permission to do that. It was a grand jury subpoena, or was it a subpoena duces tecum?
It was a subpoena duces tecum, but it appears to have been mislabeled in terms of the order as a grand jury subpoena, but it was a subpoena that was approved by Judge Johnson, and the subpoena itself was a subpoena duces tecum.
Okay. Under the circumstances, I don't think there's any bad faith. Ordinarily, they would have come to the court, but under these circumstances, go ahead and tender those. And counsel, if there's an issue with that down the road, let me know.
That's fine, Judge.
Okay.
So should we set another pretrial date?
Sure. When do we want to put that out to, gentlemen?
July 21st or 22nd?
Let's go to the 22nd at 1:30.
Thank you, Judge. And I will be in touch with Mr. Goldston.
Then Mr. Corbin, if you want to file your disclosure electronically, that's fine as well.
Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Corbin, I'll try and get in touch with you before that date so that we can possibly work out a resolution that you had mentioned a while back.
Did you hear that, Chris?
No, I didn't hear.
Counsel said he'll reach out to you so you can try to work on a resolution.
Okay. Very good.
All right. Thank you, counsel. Mr. Pagano, thank you, sir.
This is 19 CF 682, People of the State of Illinois versus Samuel Cole. People by Christopher Corbin. Defendant represented by his attorney, Mr. Jonam. Not sure if Mr. Cole is present.
Afternoon, Judge. I am asking to waive Mr. Cole's presence today. I spoke to him earlier on the phone, but he was going to have some difficulty accessing into the Zoom call today.
Okay, what is the matter up for?
Judge, this matter was originally set for trial. The pandemic hit, and I don't believe the defendant has been in front of the court for probably about 4 months.
That's approximately correct. Mr. Cole is on Scram. He's been on Scram for a year, maybe a little over, but he's never had an issue with the Scram or any kind of bad result from that. But it's basically been in a, where Mr. Corbin and I have been in, continuous discussions trying to resolve. I don't know if we're really going to get there. We probably would need to set a trial date, but we're still happy to continue to discuss.
Well, it's hard for me to set a trial date without the young man being here. So let's do this. Let's set it on July 7th at 1:30. I'll waive his presence today, but he must appear on the next court date. And if he doesn't appear, that's going to be problematic. So he needs to make an appearance, John, and then we can set a court date on July 7th.
Yeah, that's no problem, Judge. He'll be on.
Great. All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See you then.
Thank you, Judge. This is 18 CF 810, People of the State of Illinois versus Clifton Foster. People by Christopher Corbin. Defendant is present with his attorney, Mr. Grimes. All parties appearing by way of Zoom conference. The matter comes before the court for hearing on the state's petition for revocation. And Judge, I'm not sure how to accomplish this, but there is an updated memo from compliance indicating that the defendant has not completed his public service hours at the rate that he was supposed to. I would like to amend the PTR and ask for a future PTR hearing date.
Well, I will say this, just in fairness to everybody, there were no public service sites available in the pandemic. They were essentially shut down. Mr. Foster, you can unmute yourself, sir. I see you on the call, so I need to be sure that you can hear us.
I can hear you.
All right, thank you, sir. There were no public service sites available during the pandemic. All the work sites were shut down.
And I understand that, Judge. The plea took place on May 30th of 2019. Initially, there was a problem with checking into even reporting to compliance, and
Okay.
we've been pulling teeth to get this case moving.
Okay.
Judge, if I could say something, Mr. Foster saw me last week. He's had some severe medical issues as well. In addition to probation or public service not being available, he's wearing a life vest and a defibrillator. So once they're up and going, they'll have to find something that's suitable for him. But we have no problem with getting the amended petition and setting another date.
So do we want to set a hearing date, or do we want to set a status of hearing date under those circumstances?
Given the medical issues, it appears that a status of hearing date might be more appropriate, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yes, Judge.
Then Doug, how do you look on July 15th at 1:30? That's a little, about a month out.
That sounds fine, Judge.
All right. July 15th at 1:30 via Zoom for pretrial, and the petition to revoke bond is continued. And I'm told that the public service hour sites are opening back up, and there is some priority given to people who can't work physical labor. So reach out to probation, Doug. And
All right, Mr. Foster there and here.
Okay, I heard that.
Okay, good.
All right, sir. Thank you. We'll see you in July.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is 19 CF 1821, People of the State of Illinois versus Joseph Angeloni. People by Christopher Corbin. Defendant present with his attorney, Mr. Joseph Zeit. All parties appearing by way of Zoom conference. Matter comes before the court for arraignment.
Good afternoon, Judge.
How are you? Arraignment on which case, Mr. Corbin?
The 19 CF 1821.
Okay, give me 1 second. All right, Mr. Angelo, oh, that's not the right indictment.
Right.
All right, so Mr. Corbin, on the back of your indictment, on the summary sheet, I don't know if you have a copy,
Yes,
but on the
Judge.
court's copy, at least, it has a different name of the defendant.
Judge, I would seek formal leave to amend that as a typographical error.
But it looks like the charges are all the same as spelled out on the indictment, just the name is wrong. So next time you're in court, Chris, you can make a formal amendment.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, and counsel, are you waiving formal reading?
Yes, Judge, waiving formal reading, any entering pleas of not guilty.
Any objecting to the Scrivener's error?
I can't see it, Judge, so I can't tell you whether I object to anything or not, but I'm gonna assume based off of this,
I don't know, Joe.
I'm gonna just assume that it's probably a name, and that's about it. So I will not object at this point.
Okay. If you change your mind under the circumstances, you can tell me down the road. All right, so Mr. Anzalone, the grand jury returned an indictment against you charging you with 4 separate felony offenses. In counts 1 and 2, you're charged with aggravated driving under the influence of alcohol as a class 2 felony. Those offenses carry with it the possibility of 3 to 7 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections, up to 14 years if you're eligible for an extended sentence, followed by a period of mandatory supervised release or parole of 2 years, a fine on each count of up to $25,000. If eligible, you could receive sentences of probation or conditional discharge for a period of up to 4 years, and you can face between 18 and 30 months of periodic imprisonment or local incarceration. Counts 3 and 4 also charge you with aggravated driving under the influence of alcohol. However, they charge it in a somewhat different way. They charge it. Joe, can you stop shuffling the paper?
Oh, I'm sorry, Judge.
That's okay. It's killing me in the court reporter. Those are class 4 felonies. Those offenses carry with it the possibility of 1 to 3 years in the Department of Corrections, up to 6 years if you're eligible for an extended sentence, followed by 1 year of mandatory supervised release or parole. Again, you could be fined up to $25,000 on each count. If eligible, you could receive sentences of probation or conditional discharge for a period of up to 30 months. You could face up to 18 months of periodic imprisonment or local incarceration as well. Sir, do you understand those charges and the possible punishment?
Yes, yes.
I'm entering pleas of not guilty on your behalf. I'm ordering that the state furnish any and all felony discovery within 7 days of today's date. Reciprocal discovery within 14 days if you receive the state's discovery to include an answer. Joe, I have either August 3rd or September 14th as trial dates.
Judge, I can tell you that right now, based on everything, I'm in no hurry. If you want to go into October, if the court would consider that, I would take that on our motion to do that, if that's possible.
Well, I'm not going to go that far out. I appreciate the offer, but I got to keep some control over all this.
That's fine.
The 14th of September, and we can set a August pretrial date, case management date.
Yes.
You want to say August 11th, Joe, for case management and pretrial? At 1:30?
Just 1 second, Judge.
Sure.
Apologize.
No worries.
August 11th at 1:30?
Yes. August 11th at 1:30 for pretrial, September 14th for trial.
I'm trying to do this so I can make a payment.
And Judge, I don't know if I would ask leave to file a specific discovery request, and I'll tender that to the state and file that before the next date as well.
Okay. And if I didn't say it, 7 days for the state to furnish all felony discovery, 14 days for the defense to furnish reciprocal discovery to include an answer. Everybody's duty to supplement is ongoing. So those will be your dates, sir. 8/11 for pretrial, September 14th for trial.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Bond,
Judge.
continue.
18 CF 816, 19 CF 534, people of the state of Illinois versus Tammy Hart. People by Christopher Corbin, defendant present with her attorney, Mr. Wade. All parties present by way of Zoom conference. Matter comes before the court for pretrial. Your Honor, there's not much to report with respect to the pretrial, but there is a pretrial memo with several violations. The state would make a oral motion for bond review and an oral motion for an order to appear in person.
And Judge, I also had an opportunity to receive that memo. I've had a chance to review it, and I've gone over it with Ms. Hart. I think there's a discrepancy as far as her work schedule and communication with the pretrial officers. So therefore, in explaining that to her, I've offered to her to pick up her communication with pretrial. So Judge, I don't know if obviously the court, I know that it's customary for the court that when memos with multiple violations that we have in court, in-person hearing. But we would object to any sort of modification of the bond at this point.
Well, not being asked to modify the bond today, what I am being asked to do is set it for a bond review based on what you described as issues with curfew. What wasn't.
I have a curfew.
Ma'am. So a couple things. If I'm talking, it's probably not a good idea for you to interrupt me and talk. Not because I don't want to hear what you have to say, but because our court reporter can't write down what we're both saying at the same time. The court has a concern regarding the positive cocaine test on February 21st. So I am inclined to grant the state's motion for a bond review, and I can set this matter as soon as (9 o'clock) on Wednesday, July 8th. Gentlemen, are you both available on that date?
Yes, Judge.
Yes, Judge.
Hang on one second. All right, ma'am, we'll see you in court. You must appear in courtroom 611 on July 8th at 9 a.m. I'm also directing you on that date prior to coming to court that you go to pretrial and provide a drop for them. If you fail to appear on that date, or if you fail to provide a sample, a warrant could issue for your arrest. So be sure you take care of that. And we'll see you on July 8th for in-person bond review.
Yes, sir. Thank you. See you then.
And Judge, I did send a electronic, an email to the clerk's email address with a copy of an order directing her to appear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you then. Thank you, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Judge.
Do I stay on
Night.
and hear my lawyer or something? I don't know what to do here.
Ma'am, you can just.
What do I do? Stevie!
19 CF 2749, people of the state of Illinois versus Jose Castaneda, people by Christopher Corbin. Defendant is present with her attorney, his attorney, Mr. Argueta. All parties being present by way of Zoom conference. The matter comes before the court for pretrial.
Julio, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge. Can you hear me?
I sure can. What are we doing today?
Okay, Judge, we did get the reports on this case. I still believe that there are outstanding body worn camera videos and squad videos as well, Judge. So I don't know if the state has them there to tender. I could just pick them up.
I don't have them in my file. I will look into it, Your Honor.
Okay, hang on one second, guys. Okay, how much time do you need, Mr. Corbin?
I would just ask for 7 days.
Do we want to set this on the 8th of July at 1:30 for status of discovery?
Judge, I have a pretty busy day. Could we go a little longer if
22nd, Julio, next week, or a couple weeks later? Or the 15th?
Are you saying July 15th, Wednesday?
Yes.
I can't. I'm in Chicago for a reinstatement hearing. Sorry, Judge. How about Is the 13th available? Or I'm sorry, it's Wednesdays. What days are? Is
Tuesdays or Wednesdays, Julio?
Tuesdays or Wednesdays. I apologize, Judge. Sorry, Judge. Judge, can we go as far as July 22nd? Because my July is going to be pretty packed, Judge.
Oh, mine is too, believe me. July 22nd is fine.
I appreciate it, Your Honor.
All right, July 22nd for status of discovery.
Okay.
All
Thank
right,
you very much.
you.
Thanks.
18 CF 1272, people of the state of Illinois versus Michael Mahan. People by Christopher Corbin. Defendant is present. Also present is Ms. Stegmeyer from probation. The matter comes before the court for hearing on defendant's motion.
Okay, and Mr. Mahan, welcome back. I know you filed a pro se motion seeking some relief, right?
Yes.
Okay, and Jen, did you have a chance to visit with Mr. Mahan?
Yes, he visited on Thursday.
And what is your position with regard to his, hang on. Whoever 17 CF 100 is, let's see. And hold on one second. Sir with the black shirt on, can you mute your phone? You've identified yourself as 17 CF 1100. You need to mute your phone. Yes, you need to mute your phone. Can you please put your phone on mute? When in doubt. All right, I'm sorry, guys. I couldn't hear you. Jennifer, what's your position as to the request?
I'm not opposed to him getting off electronic home monitoring.
I'm sorry?
I'm not opposed to him getting off electronic home monitoring.
I don't know who is making all the noise.
I think it's Mr. Mahan's phone, Judge.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. I don't have anything in the background. I don't know.
I don't know either. Okay. So Chris, what's your position?
Judge, my understanding was that there would be a report prepared for today. I did not receive that in our daily email of reports.
He's paid everything, it looks like, or he hasn't paid everything. He's paid the electronic home monitoring fee. He's paid some of the other things down. He still has substantial balances. He completed a level 3 DUI. No positive tests. He needs to finish the victim impact panel. He's got 40 of his public service hours done.
And what is the balance of periodic that he owes?
How much time do you have left in periodic, sir?
Your Honor, I have 5 more months left.
And how many months have you served?
12.
Okay.
The reason that, Your Honor, I'm doing this is because with the COVID is devastating to me. I'm a seasonal worker. I was unable to do snow removal because I was on monitoring, and I'm unable to work any overtime hours or any on-call hours, which is time and a half pay for me due to this. And so my payments will be able to increase if I get more liberty to be able to work the overtime and on-call hours without the restrictions of home monitoring.
And Judge, to be clear, he's asking to convert PI to home monitoring, correct?
Is that what you're asking for, sir?
No, sir, I'm on home monitoring. I'm asking to be released from home monitoring.
And Jennifer, we can't work with Mr. Mahan to let him have extra hours. Is that an issue on EHM?
I'm sorry.
So he has a curfew, right, on EHM?
Yes.
All right, what is his curfew?
I believe it's 6 p.m.
6 to 6?
Yes.
Your Honor,
Go ahead, Mr. Mahan.
I'm sorry. The issue is that a lot of times that I'm on call due to like water main breaks and stuff that may happen in the middle of the night. So I'm not able to schedule it through them. So it can't be approved for you know what I mean? It has to be I'm sorry if I'm not explaining this clearly, but it has to be a scheduled time. And my work, unfortunately, really doesn't work that way.
Okay.
And that's where I'm running into the issue. I'm afraid I'm going to lose my job after 22 years in the union
What, are
because
you a plumber?
no, I do underground sewer and water.
Okay.
I
So,
did all the underground on the new courthouse there.
okay. So Jennifer, you're suggesting that the balance be stayed on you. You have no objection to the balance being stayed.
No, I have no objection.
Overall, how would you say his performance has been on probation?
He has done well on probation. Like I put in the report, he hasn't had any positive drops. He reports as he's directed. I can always put him on surveillance and have an officer come out to his house.
Okay.
Your Honor, I've been on surveillance and have had no issues with surveillance either. They've recently just removed me from surveillance because there was no issues.
Okay. Mr. Corbin, what is the state's position?
Judge, I don't have an objection to expanding his curfew in some fashion. However, this was originally charged as his 5th DUI. He received a great benefit of the bargain, and now he's attempting to change those terms, and the state would be objecting.
It was a fully negotiated plea?
Yes, Judge.
All right. Anything else you want to add, Mr. Mahan?
No, Your Honor, I've been sober for well over a year with no issues. The only thing I need is to relieve the burden of not being able to work so I don't lose my job. I'm okay with continuing with all the other terms of probation, and I understand, that I need to do that. It's just that the issue with the monitor and my work, I'm getting scared, desperately scared.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. Over the state's objection, I'm going to stay the balance, but what I'd like to do is set a 30-day status date. Boy, I wish I knew who was making all the noise. I'm going to set a 30-day status date, and then Jennifer, in all your spare time, you can give us a written report on how he's doing.
Yes.
In 30 days. Let's set it on Tuesday, the 22nd of July, and someone's going to need to do an order staying the balance. That means that the balance of your PI is still out there, your electronic home monitoring is still out there. And if you violate any condition of this, Mr. Mahan, I can lift that stay and remove electronic home monitoring. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Okay, so this is 100% on you to live up to your term of the deal. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor, I completely understand.
All right, so if I have to do the order, I'll do the order.
Judge, we can have an order drafted. We'll submit it by the end of the day.
All right, thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. All right, so your next court date is what I said, the 22nd, 1:30. You have to come back and check in, okay?
Okay, Your Honor, I have one question. How am I able to get the order that you're giving me to the, because we're not allowed to report to them. We're doing everything over the phone. And he said that I would need the order from you in order to be relieved of, so I'm a little confused.
Judge, I can leave it on the 4th floor of the state's attorney's office. Well, actually, it'd be the 3rd floor, and he can pick it up from them.
Did you hear that?
Yes, Your Honor, on the 3rd floor of the state's attorney's office.
Yes.
When would I be able to pick that up?
It should be done. It'll be done before 5 today, but it'd be best if you could pick it up tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll submit the order right now.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Mahan, tomorrow will be your order. Next court date's in July.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Jennifer, thank you.
17 17 CF 419, people of the state of Illinois versus Monique Hampton. People by Christopher Corbin. Defendant present with her attorney, Ms. Castle. All parties present by way of Zoom conference. The matter comes before the court for hearing on the state's petition for revocation. Judge Probation did communicate with Ms. Castle and the state, indicating that the defendant has made progress with, I believe, her treatment, and she is not objecting to an additional hearing date. I would note that showing progress is one thing, but we are quite a ways into her probation, so I would ask for maybe a 45-day status date, and then a hearing to be set after that.
Okay. How does the 12th of August look at 1:30? Does that work?
That'd be great.
Ms. Hampton, that works for you, ma'am? Ma'am, you're muted. You're gonna have to unmute yourself for me.
This is her first time using Zoom, Judge.
Okay. If you can unmute your phone or your computer, Ms. Hampton. I can't hear you because you're muted, so.
No, she's frozen.
Now she's frozen. Ms. Hampton, can you hear me?
Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I sure can. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Whew.
Can you, I'm going to continue your case for 45 days, but you have to stay after all this work that you have to do for probation. So your next court
Okay.
date, your next court date is going to be the 12th of August,
The 12th of August?
and that's going to be at 1:30 back on Zoom. Stay in touch with Ms. Castle. Do what your probation officer needs you to do, okay?
Okay.
All right, ma'am. We'll see you in August. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Judge, Mr. Argueta is asking to recall his case. So recalling 19 CF 2749, people versus Jose Castaneda. All parties previously present are once again present.
Judge, my client is present. He's actually in my office with a mask on right now, but I forgot to bring to the court's attention. The state filed a petition to revoke in 16 CF 673. That is a misdemeanor conditional discharge on a driving while license revoke matter. And that matter is set for July 9 at 1:30. I'm asking that that date be stricken and continue to follow the 19 CF 2749 matter that we continue to July 22nd.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please strike that date, consolidate all matters, place them on the 22nd. Okay, done.
Sorry, I forgot about that, Judge. Thank
No
you.
worries, Elio. Thanks for getting back to us.
Take care.
You too.
Seventeen CF 307, people of the state of Illinois versus Daniel Hanrahan. People by Christopher Corbin. Defendant is present. All parties present by way of Zoom conference. The matter comes before the court for final hearing on the state's petition for revocation. And I think the last time he made a payment was on March 6th, 2020.
Yes. Can I say something?
Wait, who's your attorney, sir?
I don't have one right now.
Who was your
But
attorney before?
it used to be Frank Quattrino.
Okay. There is, hang on, Mr. Hanrahan, 1 second. And understand, I'm trying to do this in a way that protects your rights. So Mr. Corbin, are you in receipt of the status report that was filed for June 17th of 2020?
If I could. No, Judge.
So what it says is he has courtesy supervision in McHenry County. He's compliant with his probation, and the only issue are his costs, having last made a payments in March of approximately $320, a little more than that.
And Judge, I apologize for interrupting. I just located it.
No worries. So, Mr. Hanrahan, how long is it going to take you to chip away at that roughly $1,700 balance?
I'm still waiting on my tax return. I'm gonna make a payment today. I'm trying to do this card so I can make a payment. I'm gonna pay at least $125 today.
Okay.
And H&R Block says everybody's waiting on their tax returns. So when I get that $5,700, then I will pay off I think I owe $1,700 right now.
Okay. Mr. Corbin, are you objecting to a longer date?
Certainly not, Your Honor.
Okay. Then, Mr. Hanrahan, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you about 60 days. Is that going to be enough time, sir, do you think?
Could we do 90 and try that and see how that
Now,
goes?
as much as I may look like a game show host, I'm not going to negotiate with you.
Okay.
I'll set it out on,
I'll try to get it paid off.
we'll set it on, it's 1:30 on August 19th.
Hold on, 1:30, August 19th. Same.
If you don't have it paid by then, what you need to be able to show the state and myself is that you've paid substantially towards that balance, okay?
I'm gonna try to pay every week.
Okay, good. Then we'll see where we're at in August, okay?
In what courtroom, or just come here?
Just the same way he zoomed in today.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You have a good day.
You too.
18 CF 118, people of the state of Illinois versus Christian Rivera Vasquez. People by Christopher Corbin. Defendant is not present. He is represented by his attorney, Ms. Ayala. The matter comes before the court for arraignment on the state's petition for revocation. I don't believe the defendant is going to show up based on my conversation with Ms. Ayala.
Okay, any idea where your client is?
I have not had any contact with him, Judge. I did reach out to probation, and I think that's the biggest issue in the PTR. Neither I nor probation had a copy of the actual PTR to see the allegations, but probation said that they haven't had contact with him in several months.
When did you send notice, Mr. Corbin?
February 25th of 2020.
And was he re-noticed to appear today? How was today's date set?
So it looks like it was originally up on March 11th. It was continued by the court to March 20th.
So there was a notice set by the clerk. It was set back in May, end of May for today's date. And it was returned to sender. So nobody at that address. So that was the last known address that it looks like we had on file, which was an address on McAllister and Waukegan. Okay, State asking for a warrant?
Yes, Judge.
Bench warrant, $50,000. Do I need to send an entry of judgment date on that? I don't think he had bond. Hold on.
Thank you, Judge.
Hold on, Davina. No, there's no bond, so there's no entry of judgment date on that.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
So just to the warrant.
Just a warrant, yes. Okay, I have somebody who's identified himself as Mr. Castro.
Next I have, yes, that's 17 CF 1100. People of the state of Illinois versus Juan Castro. People by Christopher Corbin. Defendant is present. All parties present by way of Zoom conference. Matter comes before the court for arraignment on the state's petition for revocation.
All right, Mr. Castro, good afternoon. Can you hear me, sir? Mr. Castro? Do you speak English, sir? Okay, you need to answer out loud for me.
Can you hear me now?
That's much better. Yeah, the mask was keeping you from being heard. Are you going to be hiring an attorney?
attorney,
Who's your attorney?
Terry Heighton.
Did you tell him to appear today?
No, no. I spoke to the probation person, Kathy Smith, and we had a couple of phone conversations regarding community service, and I asked her how to get to her. She says, "Well, everything is closed. Pay the fine, and the court will follow up with a court date, which is today."
Okay, did you pay the fine?
Yes.
All right, can you see what the balance is on this, Michelle? Hang on one second, sir.
Yeah, I looked it up this morning online. It was 0.
Okay, and Mr. Corbin, that's showing zero balance. And the only thing outstanding then, at least in your petition alleged, is public service hours. So are you asking me to continue this for some time to get Mr. Castro a chance to get some of those hours done?
Yes, given the fact that they've just reopened the public service, Your Honor, the state is not objecting to a status continuance.
Well, I have the hours here. I'm over here at the compliance, not too far from the compliance office. I can drop it off.
How many hours have you done?
Well, it's over 300.
Yeah, take them to compliance. Take all those to compliance.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna set your case then for status of petition to revoke on the 29th of July. And that'll be for status and arraignment on the petition to revoke. But if you have everything done, then the state would be, I'm sure, would be inclined to withdraw their petition. Okay, so it's on you to take all those hours, get them to compliance so they can verify that you did those hours. Okay?
Okay.
Then your next court date's going to be the 29th of July. Just like today, call in and we'll call your case. Okay?
Call in. I come here to the courthouse.
You zoom in like you did today. I'm not sure where you're at. Are you in the courthouse?
Yes.
Okay, then yeah, come back to that same room you're in now, enter the 611 court call and we'll take care of your case, okay?
Okay.
All right, we'll see you then, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we have 18 CF 370, People of the State of Illinois versus Tyrone Patrick. People by Christopher Corbin. Defendant present. All parties present by way of Zoom conference. Matter comes before the court on defendant's motion.
Mr. Patrick, how you doing? Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so you filed a motion. Tell me what the motion is all about.
Well, after all stemming from this case, I was sentenced to 30 months IDOC, in which I completed 15 months and was ordered to report to CBCC afterwards for a 24-month sentence. After 4 months there, I was motioned to court to have it converted into the electric monitoring so that I could be more available to family or whatnot. And I've been on that now for July 1st will make 9 months. And due to financial struggles with my mother not really working during this pandemic, and I got 2 twin grandbabies as well as 3 other children. And so like sometimes things arise to where I can't move on a moment's notice because of the restrictions due to the electric monitoring. I was asking if that time could be converted to time served and I continue with my probation. I've had no dirty drops in the 15 months that I've been from IDOC. I completed parole. I've completed anger management assessment as well as my 40 hours of substance abuse counseling.
All right, that's great that you got all that done and that you've been clean. Did you talk to your probation officer about this?
Yes.
Who's your PO?
I have Christina Thornton.
Okay. Did Christina indicate anything to you about what she thinks?
No, she said she was in support of it. Like I said, I've been in compliance with everything other than, like I say, due to the financial struggles, I still have an outstanding balance on my court fees because I've been paying for electric home monitoring as well. And so I think I'll be able to start to knock big chunks of that out with that removed if I were to be released, and I can work more hours as well as do odd jobs.
So here's how, you know, this seems to be happening like once a week. Usually what we do is we require the probation officer to file a written report indicating their position regarding your request. So What you need to do, and what I'm going to do with my clerk right now, is I'm going to order a written status report from Ms. Thornton. And Christine is a good PO. She knows me. She knows how I think. But I need you to get me a written report, and we'll set your case then for status of your request to stay the balance of your electronic home monitoring. We'll do that on July 7th. That's a couple weeks. That'll give her some time to write the report, provide some input to the court and to the state's attorney. And then based on what she puts in that report, we'll visit with you on July 7th at 1:30 the same way. And hopefully she'll agree with it and we can move on, okay?
Okay, thank you.
So, but tell her, be sure you tell her that you need a written report. My clerk's gonna order one as well, okay?
All right.
All right, thanks, sir. We'll see you then.
And Judge, I'm not sure if we have anything else on the call. I see this.
Yeah, there's a Mr. Vergara.
17 DT 20.
It's a DT case.
Yes, it is a DT case.
I don't know what that's up for. Chris, go ahead.
So the 17 DT 2031, this is off the record. It appears it's motion defendant on a ISP case.
So he's filed a motion asking to convert his public service hours, the balance of his public service hours, which are $184, to a fine of $1,840 plus the conversion fee. Mr. Vergara, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Were those statutory hours? In other words, did the statute require those public service hours?
I do not recall. I talked to my probation officer and he said it was okay for me to convert them if it was okay with you guys.
Who's your PO?
Andres Arias.
Okay. So Chris, I'm looking at the order that says 200 public service hours at a rate to be determined by probation. So that doesn't sound like statutory public service hours.
How do you spell his last name again, Judge?
It is Vergara, Vergara. And I can give you the case number if you need it.
No, I have that, thanks. I was just trying to.
First name Jose.
Can I say something, Judge?
Hang on one second, okay?
Okay.
I'm just looking up his criminal history. And Judge, I believe the problem was that this was with a 17 CM 3654, which was endangering a life and health of a child, which would have had a 6-month minimum. And Judge, it appears to at least be a second DUI, so the minimum on that would be it. And I'm not sure if there was a blow.
Yeah, there was.
And was it over 0.16?
I don't know. It was the, let's see, 0.23.
So
Well, first of
the statute with the minimum, if you're over, it's a mandatory minimum of jail and a mandatory fine. The public service mandatory comes in with the child in the car, and that's 240 public service hours. You have a second DUI. So how many hours does he have?
It was 200 in the court order.
So yeah, that's the mandatory minimum. He has to do them.
So the minimum, Judge, would have been 240, but for whatever reason we went down to 200. So there, he's asking to go even further below the 240.
So it looks like, Mr. Vergara, that those
Yes.
cannot be converted. What did you want to say? You wanted to say something, Sam, sorry.
Yes, the thing is that my probation ends this September. I only have to September to do them, and being the pandemic around, I didn't have a chance to really do any hours. I talked to the person that assigned me to this place that it's closer to me, and they don't open till next month.
Yeah, it's been a problem. And in fairness to you, you're not alone. There's been a number of cases on the call today with people that are kind of in the same boat as you. But those sites are opening. Here's the deal, though. I cannot deviate from what the statutory requirements are. So if the statute says you have to do public service hours, I can't convert those hours. You're required to either do those hours or serve a jail sentence. I believe those are the only choices you have under the law, which I understand you're not excited about serving a jail sentence. I can tell you if the state were to file a petition to revoke on this case, and they haven't, what would happen is we'd probably give you more time to get those hours done. And as Mr. Corbin and Ms. LaBeouf know, we are being creative on what we give credit for public service hours for. Probation is, given the pandemic and the lack of public service sites. So I'm afraid I have to deny your motion to convert it because it's not something that the law allows me to do. But Mr. Corbin, Ms. LaBeouf, this may be one of those deals where you all want to file a petition to revoke to actually help the gentleman out, to give him more time, or enter an agreement to extend his probation and waive probation service fees for the extension so he can concentrate on this. That's up to you folks if you want to do that.
And we'll make a
Who was your
note.
attorney? Who was your attorney when you pled guilty, sir?
Bruce Scottsworth or Hunter? I'm not
Bruce
sure.
Shotland?
Yes.
Yeah, look, he's a wonderful lawyer. He's a wonderful guy, and maybe something you want to discuss with Mr. Scotland as well.
Okay.
Okay.
So
I'm going to deny your motion, and then you're still obligated to continue to live up to your terms of the probationary sentence. And then if you want relief, you might have to hire a lawyer and bring him into court. Okay.
So just to extend my time for the hours, or what is that for?
Yes, to get time to do the public service hours.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Is that it, Michelle?
That's it, boys and girls. That wasn't bad. We got through that by 3. I was thinking 3:30.
Yeah. Judge, I do have a quick question, just generically, with petitions to revoke. If we want to bring them in person, do I just submit an administrative order through that CT 611 email address?
So there's going to be a universe of PTRs like there were today that were previously set for hearing that I'm not going to hear. I'm going to give them short dates, and if you want to go forward on them, you're demanding a hearing on them, then I'm going to give you an in-person hearing on them.
No, I mean like if there is an emergent situation where we're just getting them in court on an arraignment, but I want them to come in person because it's a serious situation.
Yeah, that's email I sent Holford. I said, look, if you want a PTR arraignment hearing and you want to, or a PTR where you're going to ask for a bond to be set, file the motion for an in-person hearing, corresponding in-person hearing motion, file contemporaneously, and then I'll probably grant it.
Okay. So
but
just
give me something to sink my teeth into so I understand what it is that you're doing.
Yeah, so I filed one. Well, yeah, I'll figure it out.
You did file one, and I signed it.
Oh, it was signed?
It was signed, and I gave it to Michelle this morning. I don't recall which one it was.
Okay. All right, so then I'll just send that with a new notice to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Anything
Perfect.
else?
Nope.
All right, guys. I'm still treating July 6th as going back to our sort of regularly scheduled programming with, the Thursdays become the misdemeanor DUI day. So Monday felony trials, Tuesday, Wednesday felony pretrials, Thursday misdemeanors, Friday would normally be my contested hearings on felony cases or trial priority, but that seems to be kind of a fiction right now anyhow. So, so just gird your loins. There'll be a couple more changes. But hopefully I feel like we're starting to sort of line things up at least.
Yeah.
Bringing some order to the chaos. Okay, appreciate all your hard work, guys. We'll see you.
All right, thanks, Judge. Take
All right,
care.
have a good night.
See you Thursday.